committee and our director, Ma'am Usha, Manjunath, and Mr. Piyush. But because of this pandemic, we are going to conduct this event in Zoom platform. Now, I'm here to explain what is eCell about and why IIHMR is taking this as a main thing, and they are conducting this type of eCells in IIHMR Bangalore South Campus. Uh, Hello,
You're audible.
but my slides are not moving. Yeah. So next, yeah, who we are and what we are doing under eCell. The Entrepreneurship and Innovation Cell at IIHMR is a student-run body under the guidance of eCell committee, focusing on developing an entrepreneurial mindset among the students and facilitating the exchange of ideas. The main motto of eCell and Innovation Cell of IIHMR is to motivate the students, and we are telling the students come up with ideas and conducting the knowledge camps and workshops. Based on that, we creating some platform that students to think in beyond that, and they have to come up with new ideas. We facilitate the process of knowledge expansion with a practical edge by exposing the students to hands-on experience of entrepreneurship through events, competition, knowledge transfer session, alumni interaction, and interactive sessions with existing entrepreneurs, and we are getting the with venture capitalist. Yeah. The famous person Richard Branson, founder of Virgin Group, said that you don't learn to walk by following rules, you learn by doing and falling over. Everyone will has to learn the things when only they will fail. Then only success doesn't come without failure. So there is no shortcuts and for success, and there is no innovation and creativity without failure. Everyone has a memories and moments in their life, whether it is a good or bad. We can learn the good memories will inspire us, and the bad memories will inspire, will motivate us. We have to be very positive to take both, whether it is a good or bad. Then only we can see the real success what we are thinking about. And people will see the moments, not the days. So we have to be in that mode. So next slide. What drives us? The vision and mission of IHMR ESL. The vision when it comes to provide an environment to translate knowledge and innovation into creation of successful entrepreneurs. When it comes to mission, the IHMR will create an ecosystem that will foster support and innovation and knowledge-based entrepreneurship among the students, leading to creation of wealth and social value through successful ventures. We, as a ESL, we created vision and mission and our objectives and goals that particularly leads to the skills and developing the students, and that leads to the innovation and will inspire them and create the new things. So next slide. Yeah, our stakeholders are IHMR students and the alumni who passed out from IHMR, all the campuses, and the management what we have, and our faculty members. So next slide. Yeah, all you people know about Albert Einstein. He said that the true sign of intelligence is not knowledge but imagination. Everyone has knowledge, but that doesn't mean they will success in their career and in their path. Without knowledge, without imagination, knowledge doesn't work everywhere. Knowledge with imagination and implementation leads to success. So what I say finally is everyone has to be dream, and that dream has to be without imagination it won't come to innovation, and that innovation will leads to the inspiring of the public or whatever will be there. That will come without implementation doesn't inspire the each and everyone. So finally what I am saying is each and every one of you will be one day tell you a story, how you overcome the struggles what you faced in life. That will be become the survival guide of the others people. That's what I am saying through this. So next, yeah, from here on, my friend Apurva will take on.
Yes. So what we do, that is the first thing which I'd like to tell about is workshops. So we at eCell, we have planned a few basic headings under which we are planning to conduct events. So in workshop, we mean the workshops on problem identification, idea generation, how to execute that idea, Then team building, because though you start with any entrepreneurship, it is not a like single man project. Like you need a whole team to work for you. So how team building can be done? Then basic financial workup is like people are not aware about how to go about the finances and also how to go about that, and starting with like business model also. Then is webinar series I lead, which today is the first of it, which Rituraj sir is. We have invited him as a speaker. So we wish to conduct many such webinar series through which we will invite the mm, eminent alumni or people who have already started their entrepreneurship and they're successfully running it. So we get to know from their experiences, challenges, solutions, and how did they overcome that. We'll definitely get an insight about how to go about entrepreneurship. Then is knowledge camps. So we wish to promote knowledge through research. It should be both applied as well as conceptual. It should be relevant to healthcare industry, as we all are pursuing healthcare management, and this knowledge should get disseminated through camps. And yeah, so we are expecting maximum participation of our batchmates as well as alumni. And last one is startup event. So we at IIHMR Bangalore are planning to give a like platform for young students who are interested in entrepreneurship. So maybe roundtable conference can be there, and we can have different guest speakers, so they can and they can guide you about how to go about that and all. And entrepreneurship awareness drive, because many are not aware about what entrepreneurship exactly means. So we wish to start all these things in near future on behalf of eCell Bangalore. Next slide. Yeah, so our team is this whole idea and concept was told by Mr. Piyush Kumar sir, so he's a chairperson. Then Gyan Chandra Kashyap, Dr. Jyoti Vijay, they are member secretaries. Lakhan sir, he's also member. He's our placement cell coordinator. Then myself and Bharat, we are e-cell student representatives, you can say. And Akash Sharma, he is our senior. Next. Yeah. What I like to tell at this moment, these all are our alumni of IIHR Bangalore who are now like successful entrepreneurs in their own field of interest. So she's Dr. Richa Singh. She's a founder and CEO of Perfect Bounce Healthcare. It's a physiotherapy startup and clinic. So she leads that. She's CEO. Then Dr. Suresh Singh. He is director of Sanjeevani Hospital. Then Mr. Bhupesh Dikshit, he is chairman of Arogya Siddhi Foundation. Basically, it's an NGO, and he has started this NGO in Rajasthan. Next slide. Yeah, Mrs. Rupali Chopra, ma'am. So she's a co-founder of Steward Healthcare India. So this consultancy basically deals with NABH accreditations procedure, how to go about that, all the filings and what is required, and so they consult in that related things. Then we have Mr. Prateep Sinha. He's managing director of Devi Healthcare Center, Dr. Lal Path Lab. So it's basically Path Lab, and it's in West Bengal. And then we have Dr. Ram Bain, who is the managing director for London Genetics, London Capital, and he is in Dubai. So these are a few alumni which we can definitely look upon. And Rituraj sir himself is also an alumni of IIHMR Jaipur. So definitely we can look at them as our role models, and definitely we can follow them in order to accomplish our goals, and we can definitely get an insight from them. Yeah. Now I invite Usha ma'am to take over and to do the welcome address. Over to you, Usha ma'am.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Bharat. And thank you, Apurva, and for inviting me for this very important aspect of what we are going to do with our students, how we are going to groom them, what we are going to do this. And on this very important occasion, I'm very glad to invite and welcome Mr. Rituraj Chaudhary, Director and Managing Partner of Centware Healthcare Solutions. Welcome, Rituraj. I can address you by your first name, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And he has worked in hospital administration then moved on to doing a lot of work on IT and entrepreneurship. And you already, all our students who are part of this, as well as, my faculty colleagues, staff who are attending this. We are very happy to invite all of you and welcome you for this important session and on the inauguration. I think, this has to happen. A lot of youngsters come with a lot of ideas. And so all of you already have a role model in front of you. And then, rightly pointed out, some of the people, some of our own students who have turned entrepreneur. And maybe as we go along, we will get to know their journey. We will be able to, really move ahead to establish our own self much more strongly. And but then what is this entrepreneurship all about? I remember way back, joining in 1999 to BITS Pilani. And, the whole thing started off when I really looked at, I started teaching a few courses and I was teaching principles of management. Entrepreneurship had taken seed, or at least the word itself. I mean, there are lots of entrepreneurs, those who have started. India had no dearth of it, but in a formal fashion, the word itself, entrepreneur, I thought, why is this word, so difficult to pronounce, and, spelling, if we all get it right, so what's this word all about? So we used to kind of really look and make fun of that, in the sense, in a nicer way to really look at. And this entrepreneurship was a kind of a word we would all work with our students and, move ahead to really train them what this is all about. And is it something that I'm an entrepreneur outside of an organization and start a new one, or I could be within an organization and still be an entrepreneur and have that spirit of really starting something new, coming up with something new, and so on and so forth. So then, of course, there was another word called intrapreneurship. If you were, having new ideas and coming up with, new ideas, then maybe you can have that. And so, it all started way back in around 2004 or 5 in BITS Pilani as, a kind of a movement that started. So around that time, we also started with Wadhwani Foundation, which was for a national entrepreneurship network with many of the IITs and IIMs on board. So there were 5 institutions with BITS Pilani also. And so I was a part of the entrepreneurship cell there. And so what we were trying to kind of do is what we are starting to do now here at IIHMR Bangalore. And so I just have 3 ideas to kind of, highlight to all the students who are just here. I'm sure, there will be much more detailing by Rituraj, as well as, Piyush, who would continue to really engage, excite all of you on this new idea. And, first thing that we all learned was, something as simple as, I hope you can see this because I'm not seeing on my screen. So this is, what is it? It's a Post-it or a, sticky pad. All right. So, this was one of the most important, entrepreneurial idea that 3M, one of the, not a big engineer, not a big, this one came up with, and 3M kind of encouraged that. And what is this sticky pad all about? It sticks to it, but it does not stick like glue where you can't really pull it off. So you can stick it anywhere. And so it was a kind of a new idea which came up. And then with that, there came a new whole business of stick pads. I'm sure all of you use different colors, different sizes, and so on and so forth now. And it became a kind of a hit. So, as simple as an idea like that, how do you really do it? So how do, entrepreneurship is all about, and how do we really look at? The first one that I usually speak about is about the idea itself and the entrepreneur himself. So all of you who are there, kind of really wanting to do something new, probably have to have some ideas in your mind, right? And you probably have to try and risk a little bit, maybe the risk taking. You have to have that curiosity, does it work? If I don't ask questions, if I don't see a new solution, why not? You go to the hospital, you see how the front office or, the registration is working. And, you see that, there are delays, there are some, things that are not happening. Patients are not, very comfortable, because they don't have certain information. So then there comes an idea that, yeah, maybe we can have, as soon as we register their phone number, maybe they can get these information already with them and they know what to do, right? So instead of coming to the help desk, coming to the front desk and keep on asking the receptionist, maybe I could change. So what was this? This was an idea to improve a process in your own area of work that you are doing. So idea is very important. And of course, it comes with a strong commitment that you have to work it. Sometimes the idea may work, may not work. So this creative idea to come into becoming an innovation. So then, you're trying to find the solution to something which would work, all right? And then what is this entrepreneurship? The second part of entrepreneurship is, so you have your mindset, you start with your idea, and that idea should work. All of us have ideas. I mean, hundreds of ideas. Some majority of them could be useless, but can we convert that idea into a business proposition? Can it make money? Does it have the potential to make money? All right. So this business proposition and what, generally I'm sure we continue to talk about is about the, in terms of the business solution itself. All right. So the business model becomes important. So you have a, problem. So you have a solution for it and that solution works, but then that solution has to bring you money in some times. Maybe it may not bring you loads of money in the initial part, but at some point it has to bring you money, right? So this is one of the things. So the next part is, okay, you have entrepreneurship, I have ideas, I have the, risk-taking ability, I'm very strong, I'm confident, and my idea will work, and I will convert into business solution. But then I need to look at my ecosystem. So my third point is in terms of the ecosystem. So that is where, whether you take in terms of what we are doing today, we are trying to create an ecosystem where we encourage you to take risks, where we kind of tell you how to calculate those risks, how to really look at markets. So your ecosystem, you want to sell your idea for a solution, and then that needs a market. So you have to understand the market, but then who pays for this? How much will they pay for it? So you have to understand the market. How large is my market? What is the size of the market? Are they really going to be excited about it? Or it's an idea which will just take off for a short time and die off? No, so you probably are going to look at the, ecosystem, which is the market, and then, but you need money to start, all right? So you probably have a rich father-in-law who will give you money for it, or maybe you have to raise it through certain, ways. And this workable solution is what attracts. So this ecosystem now in India has started building up, much later. But if you really see, what was Google, what was Microsoft, what was Facebook, they all started as an idea. They all started as certain amount of this one. But then who paid for it? For Google, of course, some of these large universities, the professor said, okay, go ahead, try that idea. All right. So there was a seed money that gave, people gave them. And they said, okay, if it works, it works. Otherwise, okay, I lose little money. I'm rich. I'm okay. All right. So, people started putting these, youngsters to really go ahead, try out. And then that was not enough. They needed much more hand holding. So they were also grooming them, telling them, maybe trying it out, helping them with ideas, supporting them in various ways, and so on and so forth. So this ecosystem started to develop. And of course, sitting here in Bangalore, we are very, very popular in terms of all the words that you hear: startups, entrepreneur, he is trying new things, he's making lots of money with this new idea. And we saw very simple things, during COVID too, right? hotels are now, they don't have customers. So now hotels have, converted into COVID care centers. So they may be not making so much money, but they are being entrepreneurial. They are making, they have to really, because they have the infrastructure, now they have to really meet the needs. So they are looking at it. So that again is an entrepreneurial idea, which is converted into a business proposition. All right. So they are coming up with this, and then they're associating with hospitals to really make the healthcare part given to them. So these are very, very important ones that we look at. But let's look at, the great entrepreneurs we have. I mean, say, for example, Dhirubhai Ambani, he started from, nowhere, right? And then in Bangalore itself, we have Infosys, we have Wipro. I mean, there are so many companies which have come. But what has come important for entrepreneurship now, as of today, is technology. So, in this era, it could be an Amazon. Amazon is in healthcare. Amazon is everywhere. Or, in our own Bangalore, we have what we sometimes call as Uberization, Uberization of, healthcare, like Practo, for example, is another entrepreneurial idea. So for all of us, particularly in IIHMR Bangalore, I look at entrepreneurship, as an idea which starts off, which is a creative idea, which is, a solution, which is a workable solution, and therefore an innovative idea which works. And then you convert that into a business proposition. And then we look at, what are the areas that we have? We have healthcare delivery and hospitals. Is it home care? It is diagnostics. Is it, like somebody like Dr. Richa starting her own physiotherapy clinic and making it very special, an innovative one? There are many, physiotherapy ones. So how do I, change the market dynamics with mine, right? So I will come up with a different kind of an idea. I will have different kinds of services. I will make it very special. I will make it for a particular market. Maybe it's a niche market. It is a different one. I'm going to have different kinds of services. So this is kind of a breaking through these already existing markets. So it can be of different types, or maybe it could be daycare surgeries, or maybe I will go into public health, mobile technology, operations, improve reach. Say, for example, eye care. There is Forest Eye Care, healthcare with, Trinetra, where you can do it in a remote place, and then that goes to a doctor and ophthalmologist for, diagnostics and, support for treatment. So now there is a lot of things that's happening with digital part, all right? Whether it is pharma, earlier we called it, yes, the manufacturing was MSME, but now there are new ideas, e-pharma, e-commerce, and so on and so forth. And the other part is in the digital health. So all this in the health area, this is where it's going to really move. And how is this ecosystem coming along? Is the government bothered? Yes, the government is very much interested. The private people funding private equity, venture capital, or banks giving loans, new schemes in the government. They are pushing the Department of Science and Technology, various different departments. All of them are really looking at and making this possible. Whether it is AICTE, for example, they say, okay, the institutions under AICTE should have entrepreneurship cell, so that we kind of create that ecosystem over there. And then, say, for example, the good news for India, of course, is, it is working. So these digital platforms are working. Say, for example, we call it sometimes as JAM, the Jandhan, Aadhaar, and mobile. So this trinity has created. So if you want to go to large population, you can have different kinds of approaches to it, because already a lot of people are using internet, they're using mobile. Now, a lot of places have 4G. Maybe we will soon move into 5G, which will have a lot more carrying capacity for data to be really doing. And so this is really, really, the whole ecosystem is coming together. And we are, as a part of IIHMR Bangalore, we're also going to be part of this, movement. And we hope, we kind of put that, we seed that idea into our students' minds. And, later, we will definitely start looking at. And we're very proud, whether it is IHMR across, there are a lot of entrepreneurs and who have really come up with. And the good news for all of you, where we live in Bangalore, out of 200 odd healthcare startups with technology, many of them are, working from Bangalore. So, hopefully as soon as we open up, we will have a lot more, physical interactions, call people, to really interact with you, spend time with you, have through these workshops, maybe take you how to pitch your idea, how to really come up with that. Maybe is it a hackathon? All this could happen once we kind of put that under this eCell. So I would say this itself is an, kind of an entrepreneurial idea. So I congratulate Piyush and his team to have really started this. And I'm very, very thankful that, Rituraj and my end team is here to ready to take it forward. And so best wishes to, you, but then to all of us. So we will move ahead. And so welcome once again, Rituraj. We're very happy to have you with us and excite and, put these new ideas and maybe through your entrepreneurial journey, highlight, what is the takeaway for all of us and how do we really make our students really move ahead with ideas and curiosity in their mind to really make it big. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. I request Piyush sir to introduce our guest speaker, that is Mr. Raj Chaudhary sir, Director of Santeware Healthcare Solutions. Over to you, Piyush sir.
Thanks, Apurva. It's a pleasure for me to welcome everyone and Mr. Rituraj on this platform. This is the first session of Entrepreneurial Cell at IIHMR. A big welcome to Mr. Rituraj. So Mr. Rituraj is an alumni of Delhi University, Bangalore University, and IIHMR as well. He has 15 years of experience in the healthcare industry with extensive experience in leading, executing, and delivering strategic projects, specifically into EMR, healthcare interoperability, and healthcare analysis. So, an healthcare IT enthusiast by heart, it's not only that the healthcare IT companies he has worked with. He started his initial career with hospitals like Fortis and Wockhardt. Thereafter, he has spent nearly 12 years working with companies in health IT sectors, leading companies like Allscript, Dell Services, Entity Data, Perosystem, and IQVIA in various locations in India, US, Australia, Middle East, including. While working with these companies, he has been instrumental in leading numerous government and non-government EMR implementation projects of products being sold by the companies like Allscript, Cerner, NextGen, Meditech, and McKesson. So he has been instrumental and he has been working with some of the leading healthcare IT companies in India and abroad. With a vast experience, he comes forward. In 2008, he is working with Santeware Healthcare Solutions since 2018 onwards as director and managing partner. In this capacity, he is responsible for developing strategy and roadmap directions and also aligning them with the vision of the organization. So that's something critical and something a vital important function for any company to handle. Now, besides the professional front, on personal front, I would like to tell you that he is a travel enthusiast and has traveled to more than 35 countries. Besides this, he is also a phenomenal photographer. His photographs has even been published in the leading magazines like National Geographic and Lonely Planet. So once again, a very warm welcome to Mr. Rituraj. So I hand it over to Mr. Rituraj now to take over the session, please.
All right. Thank you, Piyush, for this wonderful introduction. So let me have my slide started. So let me know if you all can see the slides well.
Yeah, it's
It's
visible now.
visible.
All right. Okay, so yeah, so let's get started. I mean, we already got started since Usha ma'am told so many things about how it should be and what are the fields that the current market is in. And examples like Post-it are just up to the point where there can be endless inventions, no matter where you are, no matter what your age is, and no matter if you have a financially strong background or not. So with that, I'll get my slide started. I can see that I have roughly around 45 to 50 minutes, let's say. So I'll just push few slides in, and the whole idea here is actually to make sure that it's not about my journey, but how can we have this session more interesting, and with that understand what entrepreneurship is all about. Okay, so while we get it started, just understand that these are the topics that we would not be covering today. Okay, so we would not be talking largely on terms of what is all entrepreneurship is all about, what are the different jargons and what are the numbers that you need to understand. So we'll keep that aside, or probably we'll keep that for the next sessions that would come in after this particular session. We'll start with very basic few things which would help people like you to understand that what is needed from the very start to get this journey going. And if you're still wondering whether that third last question is an actual one or not, well, it's yes, and the answer is also yes. Okay, so let's get this moving. So what this session is all about. So there has been times when people always believed that all of us have some kind of a bug within us, the entrepreneurial bug. Most of us never get to realize it. And the whole point of this session is to understand whether we can nudge that bug a little and see if that bug responds back to you. So this is my effort to get that that bug within you to grow and see that if that works within you. While I take these slides long, I'll be taking different examples, a little bit about me, a little bit about my company, and a little bit about the industry that I'm working in, right? So as in when it comes along, I'll be pushing in this kind of examples from this three flavors. So you already know about me, and I've never got a more elaborate and a beautiful introduction ever before than what Piyush just gave. So I would like to move on to the second one. So Santiware, yeah. So let me brief what Santiware is all about and how it all started. So it all started accidentally. So the whole idea of being an entrepreneur was not exactly there within me. If I had to be honest enough, a decade back. So yeah, ideally you can call me as an accidental entrepreneur, but this started because of a need. It started because me and my partners realized that there is a gap within the industry that is yet to be fulfilled. And yes, like Usha ma'am said, that there is a business model, there is money to be made. So that's how Santiware started, and how it went along, and what are the failures and successes that we achieved. We'll talk about it in the slides to come. The third flavor that we have is the healthcare, and specifically the healthcare IT sector, which needs probably no introductions from people out here. So I would not elaborate on what the healthcare IT market is all about, but the examples itself will talk more about it. But as I'm going to talk about examples, I'll start with very basic few things here. and just to see if numbers like this means anything to you all. So some of the numbers, probably not exactly the numbers, but some of the points were already covered by Usha ma'am. Something like Bangalore being such a globally ranked city in terms of being a startup hub. It's already a startup hub within India and also in the world. The ecosystem is huge in the world. The unicorns that gets added not only just from India but from Bangalore is enormous. So for those who doesn't understand what a unicorn is, it's about a company, it's about a startup who has achieved $1 billion valuation. Yeah, billion with a B. And believe it or not, every year India is producing in good numbers. I think the current number is close to 9 or going down to 10. So one of the examples that Usha ma'am already took was Practo. The Practo's founder is right here in Bangalore itself. You can see him probably in the morning in Coburn Park. He usually visits there. So yeah, it's all there around you. Some few more numbers. The valuation of average startups in India is 2.3, which is just great. And then the whole numbers, if you see, there are numerous. So there are 10,000 plus startups coming down in India, and it's ever growing. Now, if you see, if the main thing that the numbers that strikes the most is the number 73. So as you can see that 73% of the startup founders are less than 36 years old. So you realize that if you want to get that started, now is the time. The ecosystem is already there. You are ripe in terms of the age. You are placed at the right country at the right time. So yeah, this is the time. If you want to go ahead and nurture that particular bug inside your head, this is the time. Okay, so with that, I'll move down to the next slide, which is the Startup India scheme. Now, the Startup India scheme started 5 years back, actually rather 6 years back in 2015 in 15th of August, when PM Modi started saying that that a scheme called Startup India will get started, where different facilities and functionalities will be there, and founders, entrepreneurs will get some sort of advantages from the government, based out of the scheme. Before 2015 itself, the whole phenomenon was already there, but after 2015, it just blasted. And since then, in the last 5 years, the startup world has really grown exponentially. Just if you see last year, the growth has been phenomenal. So 25,000 round of startup companies came up in 2019, and it grew up to around 40,000 in 1 year. So that is enormous jump, and every year that number is pretty much growing. So again, welcome to this movement. If you think that you have that in you, and if you believe that there are some sort of trust, inertia that you have within you, then try and bring it out. Okay, so the next one that we'll move down to is actually illustration. We'll go down to something basic where most entrepreneurs start thinking, probably that here's the plan, and that's my target, and here we go. So it's going to be an easy journey, and then probably things will come along, but I will get through it. Understand that this particular flag or this goal is very important for you to realize that what is that goal all about? Is it about money? Is it about success? Or is it about enjoying the whole journey altogether? Right? So if you don't take this entrepreneurial journey, and if you go out and work for a company, that's fine enough, because that's the goal that you've set, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? So for example, let us take this particular flag, this target flag, as a mango. as a ripe mango, right? So you love mango, and you want to go and grab one. So there's quite a few ways of doing that. One, you just borrow your, so some money from your parents and go to the shop and then buy the best mango that money can buy. Yeah. So there you go. So there you have that mango, and you can taste that right away. And then there's another way of doing that. But there's another way of doing is probably to steal it from mango orchard, right? So yeah, I mean, that's another way of doing it, and it's also not easy. So probably you will have to find an orchard and then target the best ripe mango that you're looking at, and then probably throw some stones or find some other ways of getting that done. And yeah, you get that mango up. But then there's also a third one, and that is to grow a tree, a mango tree. Yeah. So as you can realize, that's not going to happen immediately, right? That will take some time. Chances are that that tree might never grow. Chances are that that it might grow, and then sometimes after there might be a storm, and then it gets destroyed. But after you see all those hurdles and possibilities of negativities, there are chances that that tree might grow. And if that grows, there are chances that you will not only get one mango, but many mangoes. And who knows, if things really go well, you might own an orchard of your own, right? So let's think about what journey you're looking at. What is the target all about? What is that flag that you're looking at? And there's, like I said, it's absolutely fine if your target is to go down and join an MNC and then move down to a foreign company with settle down in US. That's perfectly fine. There's no problem with that. But then realize that there is also another flag that you can aim at, right? And which is going to be a little difficult, but at the end of at the end of the day, it might be more fruitful. Right? So with that, just understand that probably some of you might have already thought that, hey, if I join this entrepreneurial journey, it's never going to be smooth for me, right? We all know that it's not going to be smooth. It's going to be tough. It's going to be rough. There are going to be stones. There are going to be those funders running behind you. There are going to be that lake that you will have to swim in, and there might be a lot of hurdles and thunderstorms before you achieve that target. And you understand that's a reality altogether. But guess what? The reality is even worse. And these are the numbers. So free falling is pretty common in the entrepreneur world. I'm not going to exactly speak of the numbers out here, but you can see that 88% of startup ideas fail to take off. So the ideas are there, and many of them are the best of the ideas, and yet they don't take it off for several reasons, known and unknown, right? And out of that, whatever survives to get through. 20% of those businesses fall within first year itself, and by the second year end, out of that, 30% also diminishes. And many of the startups fail to see the 11th year altogether. So there is very few startups or companies who crosses that 10-year anniversary. But in spite of that, as you can see, that a lot of people are still moving in, right? Are still looking for those hurdles. Why? Because it's not that bad to fall, right? So even if you fall down flat on your face, it's not that bad, because now you know those stones better, right? You know that that funder is going to come behind you. You know that depth of your lake. You know that hurdle better. And probably from the very start, you have that umbrella in your hand and that ladder to climb and get to that extra mile. So yeah, so even if you fall, it's not that bad. And there are a lot of serial entrepreneurs who keep fighting for it. And that one particular idea sells. And when it sells, it never takes back. With that, let's move on down to the next slide. All right, so here's another illustration talking about falls. Yeah, falling is important because the journey is risky. There's some amount of risk that you will have to take in this journey. If you don't take risk, uh, then this journey never will happen. But let's be clear, taking risk is not everything. So if you want to modify the word risk, put it as calculated risk, right? So this particular illustration became very popular in social media, particularly in LinkedIn, and probably because the whole illustration came down from a quote given down by the founder of LinkedIn around a year back. But as this illustration came in, a lot of people started asking, different sort of questions like what's happening there. This is about an entrepreneur's journey where that person jumps off the cliff, figures it out how to make this happen while he's still in the air, and then takes it off. Different people also came down with different other theories. Some people say that the person behind is probably the funder giving money to that particular entrepreneur. Some say that's his girlfriend or his wife, because behind every successful man there's a woman. Some say that that's his partner, right, who never took that journey along with him. He said that will be there. Like many a times it happens, right? You all sit together at the dining table or wherever, and then you decide, hey, so we have this brilliant idea, let's get this started, right? And then the day goes over, the night goes over, and most of them forget. But then sometimes what happens, those ideas stay ignited, and then somebody takes that leap of faith to take that jump. That jump is not easy because there are good chances that you might fall. But just to understand that there are chances that if you fly, it's all you, and the possibilities are endless. That excitement, that rush actually makes quite a few people to take that jump altogether. Is that person you? That's the question that we'll have to answer right back. Okay. Now, I understand that we've been talking for quite a while, and then it's a Saturday afternoon, so I'm not sure how many people are still along with us. I can see that 5 people have already left the conversation right here. So let's make this a little lighter. All right. Now let's say that to ignite that particular bug within your head, how can you get it started? The very first step, what can you do? Right. So I was just trying to find out that what can be done, not in the next 1 month, or let's say what can we do tomorrow to get this journey ignited, right? So there are different ways of doing that. So first thing that I came up with is start and go read books. There are numerous amount of books in the market that will really get you started and motivated. By the way, I've not read any one of them, but go ahead and search in the market and see if any one of them works for you. I have got brilliant reviews from Purple Cow. I did buy that book, but I'm yet to read that. But go get that started. So you never know, it might ignite that bug within you. The second one is more a trendy way of getting that bug going, and that is visiting different TED Talks, right? So the TED Talks are all available in the internet. So go search that out, and I'm sure that you will get motivated over time. The third one is finding people around you. How many of you know these guys? So these are all multimillionaires and billionaires, and these are all people right down into our ally in India itself. if you're still wondering who are they are, so the first one is Devita Sharaf. She is the founder of View Televisions. The second one that you can see with the black suit, that is Nitish Agarwal from Oyo Rooms. The third one is Baiju Ravidhandan. So he doesn't need an introduction probably. The fourth one that you can see, the guy with the tattoo in his right arm is Deepak Ravindran, and he's the founder of Quest Technologies. So just understand, if you can read their blogs, and it's all available in the internet, and their histories and how they have moved along this journey, that it's really motivating. Now see the difference in what comes to our mind initially when we talk about entrepreneurs, especially coming down from India. It's yes, of course, the Tatas and the Infosys and the Wipros are all there, right? But these are the guys of today's India. And guess what? They are young and they have done it. And they are all placed in those billion-dollar range, right? So if they can do it, I'm sure you can do it as well. All right. The fourth thing that you can do is sleep. Yeah, a good sleep is very important, and the right time to sleep is important. It has been found that most entrepreneurs are very organized when it comes to making their life in a routine way. And when you do that, you take good amount of sleep at the right time. So with this, so let's take away the fourth point out. And if you just see the other 3 points and see if you can have those things figured out, read more books, find out videos in terms of TED Talks or from different founders or different entrepreneurs within India and outside, and see if those videos inspire you as well. Okay. I understand those are not, some of you might be thinking that, yeah, probably I'll go down, read a book. TED Talks are nice. It keeps you going, but not sure whether they really inspire or not. And the founder's journey, there are endless different companies and endless founders, right? And they all have those inspiring stories to tell you. But does that really get motivated? Does it really help you to get motivated? Probably. But even there's a step that you can take before doing all this. And what is that? That is to watch some internet sitcoms or different TV soaps, for that matter. Okay, but I'm not talking about Breaking Bad, or I'm not talking about any other things in Netflix, like movies or different soaps, right? So I'm talking about specific ones, and I've categorically put 4 of them right here. Most of them are available in Netflix or probably in Amazon Basics. Go and start looking at one of them. My personal favorite is Shark Tank. Shark Tank is available in Netflix, Amazon Prime. It's there in Voot. It's there in Sony Live. It's there everywhere. So I'm sure you guys do that a lot. So for starters, just start with that. Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible. You can go on. Someone unexpected.
Okay, all right. I thought there was an interruption. Okay. All right, yeah. So for starters, just for tonight, just go ahead and start watching one of them. I'm sure you will, at some point of time, ask yourself that, can that person be me? Okay. So just note down this names. This will help you out to at least spend tonight or maybe tomorrow worth it. Okay, so now talking about that first step. Now let's quickly go ahead and see what are those steps that you can take even before taking that entrepreneurial journey. Number one, find your passion, right? So that's very important. If you don't feel that the idea that you just try to bring along is going along in the lines of your your ideas being right, then that won't work at the end of the day. So figure out whether you are passionate enough to get that going. Two is actually to work down for some other company. So you don't need to find out a job. You can be a freelancer as well. Today's world, is extremely open, and you can find out jobs in different ways and different forms, right? So why is this important? Because it gives you different ways of not to do things at somebody other's expense, right? So that experience somewhere becomes important. So I'm not saying that you can't be an entrepreneur right from the start. You of course can, but it's always good to learn from somebody else's mistake at first hand. Okay. Number three is finding a mentor. As you take along this journey, if you have somebody who can guide you up, who's been through this journey and who knows the path and who knows the dangers of this journey and the fruits to pick up, that is amazing. So if you have some mentors identified, or if you haven't already, try and do that and then get one. That really makes your journey a lot easier. Four is to stay motivated. So many a times, you have those ideas, and then sometimes after in the morning, it somewhere diminishes, it somewhere disappears, right? So just have those ideas and stay motivated all along. Number five, we've already talked through it. So learn from different ways, from books, from podcasts, from videos, from direct experiences, etc. There's no limit to learning. So as much as you can learn through first-hand, second-hand experiences, try and do that. The third one is networking. So why is networking important? Networking is important because as you go down into this journey, you will realize that you would need different kinds of helping hands, not direct resources or mentors or partners, but people around you, people who are the part of this ecosystem. So as you go along becoming that part of that ecosystem, you will realize that it's better to know more and more people within that particular arena. As you know them, it will become more easier to have conversation with and make businesses grow faster. The third one, the seventh one actually is to stay motivated, to have an open mind. So why is the open mind important? Because at times you will feel that whatever you are going through doesn't make sense, or at times it might be the opposite way, where you might feel that, hey, this is the right way of doing it and this is what I'm going to do, right? So at many times we get into that rigid mode. So we'll have to get that barrier up and be open. Now coming back to all these points that we just discussed as the as this first step, it's not necessary that you tick mark all of them. Many successful entrepreneurs have not even take the most of them. So there's no hard and fast rule out there. There are no blueprints for that matter. It's just you to figure out that what works best for you. But yes, if there's one thing that you have to take out of all this, is to find your passion and then stay motivated all along. Okay, so now we move down to the second step, right? So here you are, and you have already jumped from that cliff, and you are in that open air. You're already into that arena. You are already into that ecosystem largely, and you're falling, and you will have to figure out what needs to be done in order to fly, right? So that you don't fall on your face. So what are the things that you can do to figure out uh, that your fall that you're taking becomes a successful one? One, once you have taken that jump, don't keep on talking about it. Don't keep on telling people that, hey, you know what, I have this amazing idea, and I am going to do it, and this is how it's going to happen, and these are the people that I've talked to, and this is how I'm going to build it, and I'm going to do it tomorrow. Don't do that. Start doing that today itself. Start getting your company incorporated. Start figuring it out. How would you have things done? Put those things into paper. So talk less and do more. Number two, understand that, okay, I had this idea, but it's not everything, right? So, I mean, we Indians are very good at giving ideas, or bringing out ideas. For that matter, everybody has different sort of ideas all together coming in every day. And some of those ideas are actually good, but just understand that that is not enough. Bringing out an idea is just not enough. Having that executed will be important, right? So understand that your ideas are put down together, and you have a plan to create and change that idea into an executable matter. The third point is to criticize. So why criticize, right? So you have this idea, and you think that it's good, but there are times that you will realize that that idea particularly is not enough in different ways. So sometimes it might work, and it might look, hey, this is an out of the box idea, right? This has never been done, this has never been tried out, and this is something that I'm going to do. But then again, take that next step of criticizing it, and then see whether that idea will make money, whether that idea will run in the longer space, or as time passes by, will that uh, you know uh, till test the time altogether or not. So that is important. So criticize every time, every ideas that you build. See that is it foolproof. I mean, no ideas for that matter are foolproof. You will always find some sort of disadvantages in that idea. But out of that 10, the one that you think after criticizing makes most of the senses, try and get that done largely. Okay, so move down to the fourth point. The fourth point is probably the most important one, and that is listen to what people around you are saying. So it's important that not only you criticize about it, but let others criticize about it as well. If you are already into that arena, see what your customers are saying, what they have to say about it. So even if you think that this idea is wonderful, and if somebody comes down and says, this is not going to work, don't, while, I mean, that can be demotivating enough, but just try and understand that why that person is saying it. If that's your customer and saying that, hey, I didn't like it at all, and this is not working, just try and understand whether that person has got some sort of truth in it or not. And of course, you can go down and talk to different prospective customers. If you have not gone down into that business, and if you want to get into that business, talk to those people who will be your end customers, and see what their pain points are, and see if you can resolve those pain points through your ideas. Okay, so move down to the next one. The next one is creating a business plan. So once you have done these things, like we said, everything put down into a paper, put down into a tangible timeline into it, and say that, yes, I'm going to do this particular activities in this particular timeline and achieve this much of goals, which will generate this many numbers in terms of revenues, profits, etc. So yes, create a complete business plan. The sixth one is to identify your strengths. Now we all individuals are different, right? So and it's not important that we are jack of all trades. Some of us might have business ideas, some of might be more good at the creative end, some of us are good in the financial end, some of us are great salesmen. So identify your strengths, where your strengths lie. There are times when you would realize that this is not my strength, but it's important. Then go delegate it, or find out somebody who you think will be right and is more better in delivering that part than what you do. And there's nothing wrong in that. You can always delegate that. It's not that you completely move out of that arena, but at least get the larger part done by somebody else. Don't take it along with you, because that only will keep you stagnated, right? So to move along, find and identify your strengths. And then the seventh one is, again, keep an open mind. So you have already jumped into it, but understand from all aspects of what's working and what's not. And sometimes it's very easy for us to judge on things and say that, hey, you know what, this is not working today, this will work tomorrow, and that's fine. And you might criticize and say that, hey, this will not work, and that's fine too. But then if you think that there are other possibilities of making those change happen, and you can differentiate that from your competitors, then having an open mind definitely helps. So always have that open mind in all the phases, for that matter, as you go along this entrepreneurial journey. Okay, so now that you have taken that step of moving along and getting down into that stream, the last hurdle is to see how you can fly. So how can you see that you can get along flying? So I'm going to put this all together at once and talk one after the other. So here I have actually put that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but there are no actually orders out of this, so you can take along as they come. So to start with, I'm going to put that as a problem solver. So start thinking yourself as a problem solver. There will be different amount of problems that will be coming down to you, right? So when we started our journey in Santiver, our was pretty different. Like I said, for us, from day one itself, we had a client, and it was a very powerful prospective client. We didn't know a lot of things to figure it out, but we tried to see that whether we can address the problems that our clients were facing. And within a month time, we had resources, we had an office, we had people working down for us, and we were trying to find those solutions for those clients. And in weeks time, we realized that we need to start incorporating a company. We didn't do that. So we started incorporating that particular company. So we didn't waste much time in finding that name. We didn't waste much time in finding that logo. We didn't waste much time in fighting to create that website, for that matter. But then came out a problem that we were not very much used to, and that is the Indian system has it, right? So you will have to figure out what the GST is all about. You will have to figure out different terms in the taxation side, in the finance side, in the other corporate laws. So those all problems came down to us, And within somewhere, we forgot, while resolving all these problems, we forgot what was the core problem was. The core problem was to solve the customers' issues, right? And we always thought that, yeah, our resources are working down with it. So we don't have much time probably to figure out what's going on at the client end. And that's where point 2 and point 3 comes in. So you'll have to manage your time and make everything happen together at one go. So you can't say that I'm doing this one thing and I can't do that other. You can't say that oh, you know what, I have this thing in my personal life which is much more important, and since I have to give this time there, I can't put much hours into business. So that those things those are the hurdles that you will have to overcome by and large. Okay. Then the number 4 is quite important. As you move into that journey, you will realize that you will have to know your numbers. When I say know your numbers, you will have to know what are the revenues, what are the profits, what is your customer acquisition cost, etc., etc. So all those numbers you will have to understand and build it out whether you are in the right track or not, because those numbers are the only ones that will tell you whether this particular idea and this journey that you have taken is on the right track or not. So it's very important that you know your numbers. Number 5 is never deviate out from sales. Sometimes if you are a sole entrepreneur, then it's it becomes very, very tough to take the operation side and the sales side along. So I'm not saying that people don't do that. A lot of people have come up with different ideas and made that happen all by themselves. So it's possible. You can do operations, sales, and all other departmental stuffs all together, all by yourselves. So yes, you will have to hustle it out. But many a times what happens is, okay, I found a customer, I found a couple of customers. What I'm going to do is focus on quality, focus on operations, and see that those particular customers are still hanging along. Nothing wrong in that. And that's what we also did at Santivan. But you know what happened? In course of times, somewhere our sales side dropped, and we pretty soon realized that our sales are dropping, and then we moved along and tried to push sales from all sides. Within months time, we got a lot of customers back. New customers came down, but then on that particular that was around 7 to 8 months after we started, we lost our number 1 customer. So that balance is very much important, so where which is more important, the operation side, the quality side, the sales side. So everything will have to have a balance down together. I know it's pretty tough, and it doesn't happen overnight, but somewhere along the time, since you have taken that jump altogether and you are already in a phase of figuring it out, try and make sure that you hustle more and then get that going and focus on all aspects of it. Okay. Number 6 is save money. If you have any opportunity to save money, try and do that. It's very easy to build a good website. It's very easy to buy that fancy laptop that you always aspired to have, just because you've started that company, right? And the company is even earning revenue for you. So why not? You have earned it, right? But if there are opportunities where you can, let's say, buy a laptop of i5 and not i7, right? A website which is pretty basics and doesn't have that fancy stuff, and if that works for you, then try and do that. So every aspect, try and see how you can save that extra bit of money, because those money will come along handy over when you need it most. All right. So that being said, the number 7 point is again to have an open mind there. Just think along every night that how is it coming along and whether it's working down for you or not, whether things are going in the right direction, whether the numbers are speaking to you. Is it working down fine for you? At times, the numbers might not be exponential, but and because you are just growing over time, but you will have to decide that this what I want or not? Are the numbers or are the ideas, are the problem solving capabilities enough that I'm doing? Are the money that I'm saving enough? Is the revenue that this particular idea is generating enough or not? You need to have an open mind, because if the answer is no, then you will have to figure it out why that's not happening. And in the longer run, if you think that this is not working, then maybe it's time for you to move on and take a different cliff to jump back again, right? So okay, so with that, I think we have got around less than 10 minutes of time. So again, coming back to that particular illustration itself, I'll just quickly take around 1 or 2 minutes of time and say that if you feel that you can go through all these points and make that happen, then yes, there are good chances that you will fly. And then, like I say, the time is now. This is the right moment, the right time, the right place for you to take that jump. So go take that risk and then see if that's you, if that bug is within you or not. But just for a moment, just wait back and see if we go back and see that why did we take that jump at first place, right? Why did we do that? Is it that adrenaline rush? Is it because you are crazy? Is it because that mango is lying down below that cliff? Is it because you are a caterpillar and you're waiting down to be a butterfly? Probably. But just understand that 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 if you really see if this journey is important or not, there are hundreds of reasons for you to say that no, I don't want to take that jump, because it's always safe up there, right? So with that, just ask yourself that question tomorrow, today, or maybe the day after or the year after, and but make sure that you ask yourself that question. The answers that you might get is most of the things that I have thought of are already being done, right? It's already out there. People have invented most of the stuffs. So what's there new to be done, right? But if you come along and see again and then just look around you, you will see that there are a lot of problems that are just lying around you. Are you happy with the current situation, the current pandemic, the oxygen scarcities, the road rush, etc.? All those problems are there around you, right? So with all those problems, there's an idea to be generated, there is an idea to be fulfilled. So just ask yourself, are you that person to solve that idea? And if yes, do you have a business model, and does that bring along money along that? So with that, yeah, good luck with everything. And yeah, that should be it from my side. Thank you. All right, over to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Uh, yeah, I request the audience if they have any questions. So it's open. Platform is open for you. So you can either put on in the chat box, or you can directly ask also. Anything is open.
All right, I can see right away, I can see Dr. Hitesh has put up a question. So Dr. Hitesh is still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, Hitesh. So I can see that you have said that that you're running a 50-bedded hospital in the rural area, which has crossed the break even after 2 years. So congratulations on that. So the question that you've asked is how to even scale it to other areas, how to make presentations for raising equity, capital, etc. All right. Yes. So to answer that, if you're talking about other geographical areas, So that's something that you will have to figure it out and understand whether that market is matured enough to have that. So you will have to do a feasibility study initially and see whether that works out or not. For that, of course, since it's a capital hungry business, you will have to figure out, and raising money it's not actually that hard these days. So equity and then capital, in terms of raising it, yeah, there are different opportunities that you can do. There are different peoples and VCs who might be willing to take along if your ideas are capable enough. Within the IHMR ecosystem itself, we have actually a few VCs also coming along and helping down with us. So yeah, so if you think that you really have a business model in place, then I can help you out to reach out to those particular VCs. Yes.
So please, sir, share your number.
Yeah,
Contact number
absolutely, absolutely. So you can always
in
reach
chat
down to
box.
my from my email ID and from my into my number. So I'm just putting that down right down in this chat. Does it help?
Yes, yes, it's visible.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we can move along to the next question if there's any.
Participants, please, if you have any questions, please put up your questions. You can directly speak right now. So we have another questions.
Yeah.
VC or angel investor, who is better? So that I mean, it's so the easiest way of doing that is to go down and search that in Google. Everybody has their own standpoint whether angel investor or a VC is which one is better. So there's no particular correct answer to this. Each one has their own advantages to it. From a Santiva standpoint, we can say so we are a bootstrap company, so we didn't have any investor at first place. So yeah, because our ideas was a little different from a product standpoint, for that matter, where you would need money firsthand. Like for, let's say, for Mr. Hitesh, who has just done the break even, if he needs to move down to a different peripheral area, right, he would need immediate cash to it, or he would need some sort of values helps in different aspects. So yes, so both works, in investors and VCs, both works. It's all up to you to find out which is easier to do. And if you because in current world, there are no easier way of finding that out and then getting those VCs, but you will have to convince in either ways, because they are investing in your ideas, in your belief. So if you find anyone, nothing like it, it doesn't matter whether it's a VC or an angel investor. I'm not sure. Shivaram, right? Are you still there? I'm not sure whether you were able to hear it or not, and whether.
Yes, sir, I'm there.
Yes, sir, he's there.
Okay, all right. I know it's
Yeah, maybe I will ask. I mean, just to kind of trigger a little bit more. That's okay, Rituraj?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, can you say what's the difference? I mean, when we are raising funds, let us say, I mean, what are the ideas that we should really look at? Is it should we go for private equity? Is a bank better? Is it like a majority of the people do tell, okay, go ahead, start with your own money. Should we have a venture capital at the first go? I mean, what is the general kind of rule of thumb, I mean, so to say?
Yeah, yeah, right. So see, I think really, if you ask me, I would say hustle it out. So for us, we didn't spend any money. So we spent around 20,000 rupees for Santival, and that's all we had spent on. So we didn't spend. So we didn't have a single investor in us, and today we are doing extremely good. So yeah, and it's all about that idea, right? So some ideas will have some amount of investments from day one itself, and that's fine. And if your ideas work, then if it will definitely need an investor to go with. Finding an investor, like I'm saying, it's quite easy. It's not that tough if your business model is good. But if you're asking that how would you go along and find an VCs, there are different ways of doing it. For especially for from the student side, it's even easier, especially coming down from a premier institute. It becomes a lot easier for us to get VCs from the very start if the ask in terms of monies is not that much. So, and how to get VCs? Well, well, I have few ideas, but those are particularly my ways of doing things. But from the traditional standpoint, finding VCs, I mean, in these days you can actually find VCs from the internet, right, of the bat itself. So you can put your business model and business structure in place. Just make sure that your business structure is easy to understand. So it's a common thing in Silicon Valley, where they say that your total business model or your total business structure should be defined in one page, right? You need to define your business, how you're going to generate money in 4 sentences, in 4 lines, or in 1 minute. You should be able to explain it. So just make sure that your idea is not that complex. It's easy to understand, it's easy to decipher, and it's easy to make that person convinced that yes, this is an idea that will generate revenue. It doesn't need to be an out of the box idea. That doesn't matter. What would matter to a VC or an investor is to see whether that person will get his money back or not. And he will have that much limited time itself. And believe me, those VCs understand within that first minute whether this is going to work or not. And currently there are different.
So moving on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will just. Is it Piyush? Do we have time? I'm very curious. I worked with all youngsters. Who were great entrepreneurs.
Sure, ma'am.
Can I
Please.
ask one or two? Yes.
Please,
Okay.
ma'am.
So,
Yeah, sure.
In terms of time, I was looking at. So, Rituraj, I mean, when you started, like, what were your fears? I mean, I always looked at, when I passed out as a, speech and hearing professional, and then I went and landed up in Pilani, and Pilani was a small town. So yes, there was an opportunity for me to start maybe my own clinic or whatever. But then I wasn't sure. Of course, there were, the skills were not there. I couldn't speak Hindi. And for a speech therapist or an audiologist, language becomes a very important one. I did learn, and I'm very good at it now. But, initially those were some of the hurdles that I had. But, it was also my own nature. So I thought, I didn't know if I had the appetite for that kind of a risk taking or really doing it. So maybe I did, do lots of things. I mean, I was not, joining various organizations, doing a lot of different things. So there was that risk taking one, but I probably internally, I was probably not prepared. So many of us would have fears, many of us would have. So how was it for you when you started?
Right. So I started Santival with a cushion, right? So while I had money coming along at different income sources, I started Santival at the backyard. So for me, Santival was not a do or die situation in the initial terms, right? But the fear was not about falling right on the face. The fear was for me was not about whether that salary that you earn at the end of the month if you're working for an MNC, and once you take that dive, that won't come around, right, at the end of the month. It's only going to be you to figure it out whether you will be earning revenue probably next month or after 6 months, and what will happen in those 6 months. So those fears are all genuine, and now of course we have that that what happens if it fails. So it's not about you largely. So for us, let's say when we started Santiware, from, like I said, within 2 months, we had 5 resources working down for us. So that fear was not just for us about earning money at the end of the day. The fear was also whether if we earn less revenue, how will we sustain with those employees, and whether we will be able to give a salary at the end of the day if we are not earning much. How will that happen? I mean, fortunately for Santiware, we were never late in making salaries on payments to the vendors, and it's always on time. But those are the fears that were definitely there. And then the other fear was, what if we lose the customers, right? So the whole idea is to have more fruits into that basket and money coming along from different sides. So, but of course, it's easier said than done. How will you get those clients? Because you always start with only one, and then you bring along, right? And to sustain that one client, you will have to build everything, right? So you will have to build that infrastructure, you will have to build that technology, you will have to build those, get those resources, you'll have to structure everything. And what if we lose that first client itself? Then what happens? So those fears are real, and yeah, I mean, we are fortunate that we were able to address somehow. Like I said, we in few months time we lost our most important customer, because that particular customer got acquired by a giant. So and then they say that, okay, we don't need a small company like Santiware to work with, because we have all capabilities now. So we lost that, but still, because our sales tractions was good, we were able to move through from that particular standpoint, and then that's how we are today. But yeah, I mean, fears come in all shapes and sizes. For me, the fears was not just the financial ones, but also from the business standpoint, whether that particular idea that I had created will stay or not, right? So that was largely there. And of course, the services that we had created. So idea creation, like I said, it's pretty easy, but whether that will work down in the market, especially in the US market, because Santiware caters to the US market itself. So it's important, because there were so many reforms going on, right? So within US. So how will those reforms affect the services and the revenue model and the business model that we had created? So if those reforms changes, then we will also have to change accordingly, right? And there's always that particular company that will be your competitor, who will always have better resources and better capabilities than you. And that fear is always there, that what if that giant eats all the market spaces, because you are just a small fish in the pond, right? So those fears are real, but you will have to overcome it and find some solutions, and stay afloat, stay alive, and that's how it will keep you going.
Thank you. And just one small last question. I mean, in terms of the worth of an entrepreneurial venture, is it the valuation? Is it the customers? Is it the the IPR that you create? Or maybe you don't have an IPR in services sometimes, but what is it that is very critical, or maybe all of them, but if you can kind of tell, people get carried away with valuation and big numbers, INR or dollars or something, but is it the number customer base? What is it that's very important as an entrepreneur that you keep looking at and, that's what I want?
Mhm. Well, this answer is easy. I mean, in my first year in IIHMR, we had this visiting faculty coming down to us. His name is Dr. Kalia, and Dr. Kalia said, and he was a marketing expert, and he said, "Sab Maya hai." And I still believe that in this particular world, everything is money. As long as your business is earning money, it will go along, irrespective of anything, irrespective of the valuation. See, valuation right now for most of the startups, it's more of an art than a science. I mean, everybody can create different numbers. It is not that hard to put a valuation number and put that in millions. And then people have found out different ways of putting those numbers in. But if your particular solution that or the product that you have put in the market at the end of the day, or at the end of the month, or the end of the year, or at the end of couple of years doesn't break even, or is not on the path of making that break even point, or is not earning enough revenue where you think that it should be, then that's the problem. And should be the number one focus altogether, on how to generate that extra amount of money every year and keep working that out. That will not happen just like that. So of course it's all connected. So you will have to have your services enhanced. You will have to find that sweet spot. But at the end of the day, it will all come down to that funnel end, and that is generating money out of that funnel.
Okay, so that's revenue. So that's your part of your business model. Back to Apurva.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Both the questions are really very good, and we also came to know. And I like to thank Prithviraj sir for getting like his time for today. And I request Piyush sir to do the vote of time.
Thank you, Purva. I would like to thank you once again, Mr. Rituraj, for being here and with us today, for enlightening us with your valuable knowledge about entrepreneurship and startup ecosystem. I think somewhere today's webinar threw a deep insights about the very, very basics, that what should we do when we are entering into this journey? What are the prerequisites and how to navigate forward? As somewhere you pointed out that we all have different ideas coming up, but we just discuss and then we forget them. So it's somewhere the consistency and the passion to follow that idea has to be there, which makes us going through. And you mentioned about the unicorns. So I think we are nearly 55 unicorns we have in India, of which 13 came only in the first 4 months of 2021. So we are creating unicorns in the time of COVID. So we are sitting actually on a huge resources, a huge amount of potential, which I think somewhere it's important for our students as well to encash upon. And this is, we can actually take away from the session today. So I'm pretty sure the learnings which we have learned today from the session are actually going to help our students. And we further look for your support also, Rituraj sir, in case we have any kind of query from our students. So it can be valuable for your to add your inputs over there. I would like to also thank our director, ma'am, for taking up her precious time and sharing her words of wisdom with us. And the momentum which ma'am created at the end, really very interesting insights came out of that. Thank you, ma'am, once again. I would also like to thank our students, Apurva and Bharat, for being actively working on this webinar. And they have really worked hard to make this event a success today. And yes, our IT team, without whom support this event has not been possible. They are always there to help us out and making all the events successful. And finally, a big thank you to all the students for active listening and for participating in this. Please share your feedback or any questions if you have. We can still take up, else can wind up the session.
Yeah,
So,
and
thank
before
you,
we wind up the
everyone.
session,
Yeah.
I request everyone to turn on the camera so we can take a picture. So I request Arun sir to take a picture once everyone turns on their camera.
Yeah, sure, Apurva.
Requesting all the participants.
Yeah, please turn on the camera so we can take a picture.
Arun, you'll have to tell us, otherwise cheeks will hurt, right? So we keep smiling.
Yeah, still few people are joining with video, ma'am. So waiting for them.
Okay, so we will continue to smile.
Yeah, I'm
please
clicking.
everybody turn on and smile.
Yeah, I'm flashing it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arun. Thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone. Once again, yeah, Apurva and Bharat.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank